Hey, I want to talk about what's happening in Colorado with the prices of marijuana. The cost of a wholesale pound of marijuana in October in Colorado was around $2,500 per pound. That has been almost cut in half to around $1,500 per pound last month, according to data from an online marijuana distribution platform, which is, as you can imagine, studying this very, very seriously. It is called, I believe it's pronounced Tradiv, although it might be Tradiv, saying in nearly a year, we've seen wholesale prices drop to nearly half of their previous totals. We've never seen prices like this, and this is because the market is flooded, right? Growers are ramping up production. There's a huge amount hitting the market in Colorado, and this is causing the decline in prices regardless of demand. And as we know, Jason, demand is very, very strong in Colorado right now for legal weed. Similar story from Washington State, where the price of legal marijuana has also dropped significantly since this first dispensaries opened. So this is sort of a double-edged sword, right? On the one hand, you are now allowing people to do this legally, and that's a great thing. You can tax it. Revenues to Colorado have been huge. You can take that money and use it for drug addiction education, really thinking of drug addiction as a health issue, not a criminal issue. It's all absolutely fantastic. At the same time, we are seeing the price go down very, very significantly, which we could argue is bad for the growers, but it is also good in terms of eliminating the black market, because we've reported over the last year that the black market for pot in Colorado still exists because due to regulation, the recreational legal marijuana cost was still higher. So you get the black market and they say, hey, we're not regulated, we're not paying taxes, so we're going to be able to offer a lower price. This is good news in terms of making the black market dealers basically unnecessary or moot or obsolete because the prices are dropping very drastically on the legal side.
And I think it's going to be a great thing also in that whenever, and I say whenever because I feel like it will happen, the DEA actually gives a green light for research to happen. It's going to cause the cost of their research to very cheap. And next thing you know, they're going to be creating all of these compounds, CDB compounds, and they're going to destroy the pharmaceutical industry. CBD
compounds, yeah. I agree with you. I mean, right now, there are so many obstacles to research. Not that big pharmaceutical companies can't go out and score some pot. They would be able to. But big picture, yes, if it's cheaper, that is also going to facilitate research. Although the Schedule 1 disaster of cannabis is one of the problems. The difficult way in which research is even possible is one of those problems. So there's a lot of different issues here. On balance, I understand that this will impact growers. Profit margins are still very solid for growing marijuana. I think big picture, this is actually going to be a positive thing. And you have to remember that even if the prices go down at the wholesale level, when we have more legalization and more markets, the opening of new markets is going to do way more to help these businesses remain profitable. And many of them are very, very profitable. I've been reading about it. I'm not finding myself hugely concerned with the decrease. It really does make sense. Once you bring something legal, there is going to be, I'm not a total free market guy, but there is going to be a market force that is going to decrease the price. That's just expected.
Yeah, and especially so I know something that's going on in Northern California, similar to there, is companies like Marlboro have been going to buy all these huge tracts of lands in certain areas, which are optimal for creating this.
Right.
But what I hope is that it's going to get so low in price that it's going to keep the certain kind of a small growers in business and not allow for these huge big business wholesalers like Marlboro, et cetera, to come in and take over the market.
I think they are going to come in and take over the market. If really we see legalization, we've already seen a variety of different patents start to be filed, including even by the government in terms of medicinal uses. I think that big pharma and the tobacco companies both are laying the groundwork so that if legalization in terms of recreational use becomes widespread, they are absolutely going to be there. And honestly, I don't know that there's much we can do to prevent it from happening.
No, there's nothing we can really do to stop it. I know they have been setting themselves up. They have been buying the land in these certain areas. Like the law is, I know in California, if you buy a 10 plus acre tract of land. You can basically do whatever you want there.
Right.
And it's hard to find these properties. And I know something from, I have friends that are kind of in this industry, if you will.
Sure. I like that. Nice way to say it.
So what they're doing though is in California, they've given kind of a chance for these people to catch up in this year, last year, and next year to kind of try to legalize themselves. So when the ballot measures do come up, they actually do have the money to apply for these ridiculous kind of permit fees. And that's the same thing with Massachusetts. I think the cost right now is you have to pay 3 rounds of fees to become a medical marijuana dispensary in Massachusetts right now, and it's $80, $50, and $3,000 in reverse order actually. And then,
I thought it was more. To be honest, I spoke to a lawyer who worked with some clients who were soliciting. I believe he told me that the entire process, if and up to including the acceptance of it, is $500,000. And I don't know if he was including the expected legal fees in that as well, but I've heard that these are just absurd numbers.
Well, excluding legal fees, the actual 3 fees you have to pay, the permit fees are those. But yeah, I have heard as well that you need to have basically $500,000, upwards of really $1 million to start this. And the interesting part is it has to be a nonprofit business.
Right.
So you have to find a way to somehow circumvent all of the nonprofit kind of restrictions that are there.
Not to mention, most banks won't do business with you because federally this is still something that is illegal. And in addition to that, you also have a situation where you're handling major cash payments, and you sometimes need heavy security, and you have a nonprofit which is hiring security in this way. Not that nonprofits don't, they very often hire security, no doubt about that. It's just a nightmare. It's an absolute and total nightmare.
I saw an interesting piece on Vice about this actually, and there's actually they have a certain security company that basically is the backbone, the kind of the pulse of this industry, and they go from every dispensary and they have this huge vault. It's like a private bank essentially of all these ex-military people that are running it, and it's kind of very interesting to see.
That is interesting. Yeah. And look at the industry that's being created, because so many of these businesses have to deal with cash. Okay. That's the bonus show. That's it for today. And we've got such a great week of shows, even though it is a short week because of Labor Day. It is quality over quantity this week.